You better not duck me, son. You better not duck me, son.
What's going on, you guys? So Keith one time Thurman. The last time we seen Keith was in his fight against Mario Barrios, where he won by unanimous decision. Had Mario Barrios looking somewhat like an avatar, right? The avatar of the movie characters. Yeah, Keith Thurman went up in there and beat up Mario Barrios. That's the last time we seen Keith. And yeah, we haven't really seen or heard much from Keith Thurman since, right? You know, we haven't seen or heard much from Keith Thurman since his fight with Mario Barrios. Keith Thurman, prior to that, we haven't seen him in some time, quite some time, in some years. And now Keith Thurman finds himself in a pretty precarious situation, right? In a ranking in a sport of boxing. Keith Thurman is a guy who was at one point was at the top of the division. He was the man at the welterweight division. You know, he beat guys like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia back when that was really cool. Before, you know, guys like Jaron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, et cetera, even before Terrence Crawford came around. Keith Thurman was the man. And now, some years later, you know, some time later, right? The last time we seen Keith was against Mario Barrios, and this was late last year. Now Keith Thurman going into 2022, we haven't really heard much from Keith one-time Thurman, right? So fans want to know, what is Keith Thurman going to do? Who is Keith one-time Thurman going to fight next? Now, if you look at the current rankings of the WBO, right? You look at the current rankings of the WBO, you got number one, of course, Terrence Crawford is the super champion in the division, right? So he's able to do some things. If certain things ain't happening for Crawford, he's able to challenge the guy in the next weight class up, right? But Keith Thurman, he has guys like Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis right in front of him. And Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis are arguably two of the top guys that's coming up, right? Two of the top young fighters in boxing in the welterweight division who hasn't touched the world title. Very promising young fighters. And Keith Thurman finds himself behind these guys now. So, yeah. What is Keith Thurman to do? Well, Keith Thurman, after his fight with Barrios, was believed to be the WBC eliminator fight, right? So he was kind of waiting in line to kind of leapfrog everybody to hopefully get a shot at Errol Spence Jr., right? But it's not looking like things are playing out that way. Of course, Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford got a fight that they're working out. So Keith Thurman is kind of on the outside looking in, and he's surrounded by young killers like Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Ennis, and then behind him, Keith Thurman, we have Conor Benn, who may not quite be ready to get put in the ring with some of these guys just yet, according to Eddie Hearn. Keith the one-time Thurman, man, allegedly, right? Now, this is all alleged, but Keith Thurman, he's alleged to have acknowledged Jaron Boots Ennis, right? And I'm not quite sure how true it is, but I heard this was true from some fans. I'm not quite sure where the interview was at or where we can get some sound bites from this particular message. But Keith Thurman allegedly says this: "I have no intentions of doing that," quote, "ducking a fight to Boots Ennis. I'm getting really tired of him disrespecting my name. Let's make this happen, boy. Be careful what you ask for. I'm putting you to sleep to make a statement to the welterweight division. Keith one-time Thurman doesn't dug anyone, son. I'm back and I'm more hungrier than ever." Quote, end quote, right? That's what Keith Thurman allegedly said, right? I'm not quite sure how true this is. I didn't hear this anywhere, right? But a lot of people are saying this is real news. I don't know if it's real or not, you guys. You know, if you heard this yourself, please leave it in the comment section so the world can know. But it does sound like something Keith Thurman will say. But you know, boxing fans can get really, really creative to where they'll type something up and they'll make it sound just like that particular fighter. And this does sound like Keith one-time Thurman, right? This sounds like, and then you come out, you see Keith Thurman wants $10 million to fight Boots Ennis. This is what they're saying, right? I'm not quite sure how true it is. This is just what's going on in these boxing streets. Keith Thurman allegedly wants $10 million to go up against Jaron Boots Ennis. And Jaron Boots Ennis, Keith Thurman knows he's not going to get that for fighting Jaron Ennis, right? He knows he's not going to get that from fighting Jaron Boots Ennis. I'm not quite sure if that's true or not, but it does sound like something Keith Thurman will say and do, right? Request a substantial amount to go against a non-champion in the division. Right now, Jaron Boots Ennis, we know that will be a very, very, very tough night for Keith One Time Thurman. Fans already acknowledged that Jaron Boots Ennis is likely the next guy up, right? The guy that got next in boxing is Jaron Boots Ennis. He's an extremely talented fighter, dangerous fighter. When you see him visually, I mean, he looks spectacular in almost every way. Keith Thurman allegedly wants $10 million to fight this guy. I'm not quite sure how true that is, but man, that's a tough fight, right? But it seems like Keith Thurman, if he wants to really make something happen, unless the boxing guys decides to bless Keith Thurman one last time, he may have to run into a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis or Virgil Ortiz. Now, Jaron Boots Ennis is in a really good position, ranked really high in all the sanctioned bodies, as well as Virgil Ortiz. Stanionis may be the guy next in line for Spence with the WBA, but the IBF hasn't fought. Errol Spence hasn't fought an IBF mandatory since Carlos Ocampos. That was about 4 years ago now. So yeah, one would assume if the Spence and Crawford thing doesn't happen, that Jaron Boots Ennis will be next, right? The IBF probably likely will force that fight. So yeah, Jaron Boots Ennis, will he fight Keith Thurman? Highly likely. You know, he said that he would be interested in fighting Keith Thurman. He called out Keith Thurman his last fight after stopping Thomas DeLorme. He said that'd be a good fight for him in his career, right? But Keith Thurman, he may not be willing to sacrifice himself off quite just yet. Keith Thurman feels that he still got something left in the tank. He claims he's hungrier than ever. Keith Thurman got a lot to prove, right? He got a lot to prove because this fight with Barrios, many expected Keith Thurman to stop Mario Barrios, but he didn't stop him, right? And the funny thing is, Gervonta Tank Davis stopped this same guy. So yeah, is Keith Thurman still one time? Do Keith Thurman still have that power? Now we've seen that what he did to Mario Barrios. Keith Thurman still can hit you hard, still thump you. He may not be putting you on your ass. He may not knock you out with one time, but he will lump you up, right? But yeah, man, Keith Thurman. What is Keith Thurman to do, right? You know, you got to keep your fans updated, Keith. You got a lot of fans out here that's still rooting for Keith One Time Thurman, and they want to know what's going on with him, right? They want to know what's going on with Keith. They want to know if he's coming back. They want to know who he's going to fight. They want to know Keith Thurman's intentions and what does he plan on doing. A lot of boxing fans don't really believe in Keith One Time Thurman. You know, once this Errol Spence came into the division or really rose into prominence, whatever, Keith Thurman seemed to have faded off into the background, seemingly not wanting to deal with Errol Spence Jr. And now, as time has passed and he really was dismissive of guys like Spence and Crawford when he was at the top, and now he finds himself trying to work his way back up to the top where guys like Crawford and Spence are now at the top, not even paying him any attention. And now he got guys like Jaron Boots Ennis, maybe Virgil Ortiz, etc., that he may have to contend with. So yeah, Keith One Time Thurman. I like Keith, right? I like Keith Thurman. I know a lot of box fans may not be too fond of him, right? I don't know. You know, these guys are human beings. They make mistakes. They say things that may make us cringe, etc., etc. But, you know, Keith Thurman made a mistake, I believe, right? Being so dismissive of guys like Crawford and Spence when they was looking for an opportunity to face him, and now he finds himself in this same position. So yeah, Jaron Boots Ennis may be a guy that Keith Thurman may have to go through unless the boxing politics shows him favoritism, right? So yeah, Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford is looking like it's the next fight. Those two guys may have a rematch clause to where it kind of ties up the division for quite a while. So what is Keith Thurman going to do in the meantime? Tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.